just ripening into the earth. Beautiful bolster or blanket tucked behind the heart. In order to expand the heart, put your spine in a little extension. And breathing so slow and joyous and generously. And giving yourself time to detach from thought, detach from all the planning, worrying. And there's a pleasure in just being in the present moment. We set this inner expectation that we will relax and rest completely, comfortably, expanding the heart. Place one hand right over the navel and one hand on your heart. And connect these two vital centers, one of love and one of empowerment. And just notice whatever it is you're noticing, whatever arises up. The Yin practice is so much more about quality than it is quantity. And today we're going to explore some poses for the hips, and in particular the sciatic nerve release. And reach up overhead like that good morning stretch. Take your time, arms overhead, and feel your chest even more expansive. And stretch your toes as far away from your fingertips. Circle your ankles and wrists around. Rock your head a time or two. One more time. And rise up. Join me in a comfortable seat. And maybe that's sitting on a blanket. So we have a couple of new people today, and sciatic nerve is an issue. So perhaps as you're sitting, it could be cross-legged. Maybe you want your legs out in front of you, or maybe you want your legs in straddle. Okay, so a lot of times people copy the yoga instructor, and sometimes sitting cross-legged isn't doing the trick. So I want us to start by sitting up tall with the spine, palms down on each knee. Go ahead and close your eyes already. Let me guide you with my voice. We're going to circle just the head around clockwise and counterclockwise. And let the breath guide the movement. It's not the other way around. So it's a slow, delicious, easy breath that guides a slow, delicious, easy circles. And as you begin to loosen up, perhaps you're dropping the head back even more, tucking the chin around. When we shut down the sense of sight, the other senses can be heightened, in particular here, awareness, proprioception, touch, feeling. Tuck your chin, sit up tall. It's simply a mini forward fold for the neck, just the neck, not the spine itself. Chin is level. Drop your ear to the shoulder, left ear, left shoulder. Inhale, right ear, right shoulder. Inhale up, left ear, left shoulder. And keep going on your own time. And as you're finding this lateral C shape in the neck, maybe you want to tuck your chin down into your shoulder like a little shy dove. And maybe you want to look up too. And accent on the word maybe, because some of us are so tight in the neck. We always want to feel those connective tissues finding their edge, but we don't want to practice in pain. And the head comes up, breathing in, and let your right ear seek that right shoulder. Perhaps tucking the chin in. And if you're noticing anything that's in particularly tight, then just pause there and use the breath like a fine-tuned arrow of relief. Head comes up. And now I want you to drop your head back. Inhale with me, nice and slow, beautiful inhalation. Drop your head back, open your throat, and just explore. And this is a good opportunity to get curious about your edge, not too much. You don't want to injure yourself. And by the same token, not too little. You don't want to be in atrophy as you practice. Beautiful. And chin comes level. And we're going to circle the shoulders out. And you guys might have noticed I just opened my eyes. But as soon as I do and you do, go ahead and close your eyes again. And you've practiced with me enough times to know that right now all we're doing is circling shoulders up, back, and down. And you can isolate one at a time so that you're alternating. You can do both shoulders at a time. Close your eyes so that you are more aware of the feeling of sensation. Roll your shoulders slow, very deliberate action. And keep the breath flowing smooth, deep, true. Easy does it. And the tissues might actually be a little crunchy. Don't worry. These connective tissue, ligaments, tendon, made of collagen, elastin, so much like rubber bands. They get dry, they get tight. Don't worry, we'll loosen things up. And let's roll the shoulders forward now. So shoulders come up, forward, and down. And of course, I'm really exaggerating. And you might want to exaggerate too. And you notice my elbows are bent, my wrists are just hanging here. And let's pause for a moment. I got so excited about doing what we're doing, I forgot to tell you guys to cross, change the cross. I'm sure that you did, especially if you're getting a little achy. Sorry about that. Nothing like going deep into the practice, losing your mind. Beautiful. And now I want you guys to just really hunch your shoulders so you're bringing your elbows way forward, right? You feel this in the upper back. Feels kind of weird. Tuck your chin. And now extend your arms out in front of you. And so you're still tucking your chin. You're feeling a nice rounding in the upper back. And inhale as you come up nice and slow. Arms come up overhead. Oh yeah, big difference between this and coming up. Lots of tissue. Feel your shoulders, side ribs, side waist. Bend each elbow here, frame your head. Hold on gently. You're not pulling, you're not pushing your arms back, but do explore. Explore your own flexibility and mobility. Move to the side slightly, just tilting. Beautiful, Anne and Roy and Howie. Just tilting. Nice, David and Karen. Notice your nerves are calming and your energy shifting into contentment. And notice you're not worrying. Who cares what the next pose is, right? Reach up and exhale, drop your hands down. Beautiful. Palms come down. Nice grounding sensation. Let's circle the torso around. And if you've practiced with me, most of you have. In fact, all of you have. Ravim, Karen, 2 Karens today, Elise. You guys know this is one of my favorite motions. When I first come to my mat, I always close my eyes. Always. I want to be distracted for one thing, but I always practice just feeling my physical body, emotional body, spiritual body, the energetic aspect that is yoga. You're circling clockwise and counterclockwise, and as things begin to loosen up, you guys, let your head go along for the ride, so to speak. Nice and slow. If you had a paintbrush taped to the back of your head, you'd be drawing circles on your ceilings. And would the circles be huge or small? And sometimes it's just these subtle movements, this tender, gentle opening of the ribs, side waist, hips, that can really begin to open the body up, and we begin to feel fantastic and free. And neutral spine, inhale, nice and slow. Take your entire length of your inhalation. Beautiful, David. Reaching up and up and up, nice. And Julie, let palms touch overhead. Shoulders might be tight, don't worry, don't worry. Contentment, inner contentment, even in the midst of yin. And slowly drop your left hand down. Keep right hand up in the air. Really lengthen that right side body like you're going to reach up for one of the clouds up there. Tilt over to your left, ever so gently. And just exploring, bend your elbows so that your arm's just not hanging out in space. And just explore that side bend. And breathe here. And let the inhalation slowly help you to rise. Reach up both hands. On the exhalation, drop your right hand down. Stretch up through this left side. Grab a cloud up there. Tilt over to your right. And explore that left side body. Bend that elbow. Your hand, the palm of your hand just grazes the back of your neck. Get curious. Banana shape in that left side body. Easy does it. You're not going to push. You're not going to tear a ligament. And you're not also going to be in atrophy. You're going to really explore your edge. This should feel good. And let the inhalation bring you up again. And then inhale, arms come down to the side. I want us to just do a couple of little twists, but motion twists. So you can have your elbows out to the side. Let your head follow and just release. Notice if you have a lot of tightness in the side waist. Beautiful, you guys. Nice. I feel like I could do this for another 10 minutes. And find your way into a wide-kneed child's pose. So wide knee means that your knees are out, probably mat width apart, and your big toes are together. And then you're going to stretch your hands out overhead. And curl your chin in and come into the pose really slowly. And hashtag working from home. I am managing a 14-week-old puppy and a 7-year-old dog. And I will actually be right back, don't worry. We're going to hold this pose for 3 minutes. Child's pose. Let your forehead meet the mat and just surrender. And of course, breathe. we use our breath as this amazing tool that it is to soothe our soul and calm the nerves. And let your tailbone get heavy and sort of seek its way down to the heels. And let the shoulders and underarms begin to surrender into the child's pose. And child's pose is a safe pose. It's done around the world as a prayer in many cultures. Certainly is a blessed time to lift up a prayer. We all could use a prayer from time to time. And we'll be in this child's pose for about another 40 seconds. Relax. Relax. We're going to transition to Anahatasana. You're going to keep your elbows on the earth. You're actually going to raise your hips up high, right? I usually walk my knees back just a few inches. So my hips are way up over my knees. I'm going to keep my elbows down, and then I'm going to let my chest descend down to the mat nice and slow, and stretch my arms out a little bit more overhead. Forehead meets the mat. And you're putting your low back here in this nice extension. Be very gentle with yourself. If you feel any pain, I want you to back off the pose. You can always come onto your belly and simply rest your forehead on the back of your hands and spread your elbows wide. There's still a back bend here. If Anahatasana, this melting heart pose, is too much for you. Hips are high. A little bit different from child's pose. And use your breath. It's easy to forget. And drinking the breath in nice and slow and smooth. And watching when the inhalation makes its little U-turn and becomes an exhalation. There you go. It's like you're melting, just really softening into the pose, not pushing or rushing your way into it, just allowing the body to soften. And we're going to thread our left arm under the right, and you'll be dropping down to the outside of the left deltoid, and because your hips are so high, you're threading that left arm under right, you'll actually be resting on the temple more than cheek or ear. You're putting this interesting twist in the spine. Right arm overhead, spread your finger bones wide. And just breathe. Easy does it. In the Taoist theory, Chinese medicine, Yin Yang, you've seen the symbol, it's black and white, two little identical teardrops, right?
The next time you take a peek at the symbol, notice the S that splits the two teardrops. The S in Taoist theory speaks to tranquility, which is actually perfect. It speaks to balance between yin and yang. We need both energies, feminine, yin, and the yang, masculine. The go, constant going, constant doing, planning, the fun, right? Cycling, running, hiking, working out, horseback riding. And then the soothing, a practice that is more meditative. We're going to switch sides. I want you to pull your left arm. You'll come onto all fours. Before we go to the other side, pull your hands in underneath your shoulders. We're going to practice cat pose, not cow, right? Cat pose, rounding your back, tucking chin in, spread your finger bones wide, and push down into the mat. Push down like you're trying to get your hands to descend further down. And just let the back round. And then come neutral. And then extend your left arm out overhead and then drop down onto the back of the right deltoid, threading the needle. Your hips are high and you're resting on your right temple, palm face up. And stay in the pose. Scan your body from the crown all the way to the toes and see what it is that's calling you to relax and soften. And pull your right arm out from under you and come down to your elbows nice and gently. And then walk your feet back so that you're finding your way onto your belly into a gentle Sphinx pose. Very gentle here. And maybe rocking side to side. You're resting on your elbows. Your elbows are under the shoulders. You can walk your feet out a little farther than maybe you normally do. Relax the pubic bone down. The chin is level. If this is too much back bend, you guys, then you can just rest your forehead once again on the back of your hand. We've been in Sphinx pose for about 1 minute. If you would like to go deeper, you can straighten your arms, walk your hands out
mat width apart, and you're going to straighten your arms. It's considerably more back bend. As you arrive to the top, your back might protest and might go, ooh, what were you thinking? If that's the case, bend your elbows, come back into your Sphinx. If you're with me, you're up into seal pose. These ligaments, we don't often give much thought to until we practice Yin. We put this just right amount of tension or stress, if you will. The time is the magic ingredient, along with stillness. The poses aren't always perfectly comfortable either. In fact, we ride the edge of discomfort many times, as long as it's not pain. To me, there's a big difference between discomfort and pain. Relax your buttocks. Relax your pubic bone, your quadricep muscles, and just breathe in slow, smooth. There you go. Exhale slower, smoother. And very slowly we're going to come out of this pose. Do spread your elbows, resting on the backs of your hands. Bend your knees, feet come up towards your ceiling or sky. And let your feet fall in reverse windshield wiper. And take your time here, releasing any low back tension. And we'll find our way to child's pose again, only as a counter pose, you guys, not as a 3-minute yin pose again. I'd like you to come into child's pose, knees wide or knees together, your choice. And just rounding the back body nice and gently after that. Nice, deep Sphinx and seal pose. If your forehead doesn't meet the mat, use a block or a blanket. And very slowly now, I want you guys to find your way onto your back, however that looks for you. And just take your time. It should feel good. Once you get onto your back, I want you to bend your knees. Keep the soles of the feet down. And we're actually going to windshield wiper the knees this way too. And so the low back gets a really nice massage into the yoga mat. And take your time here. And breathe. And place your hands on your belly now. And you get a nice little massage. Your hands just sort of glide across the abdomen. This is where the solar plexus reside here, right above the navel. Notice the deep soothing quality of this simple, simple action. And we're going to spend a little more time doing this. You're really unwinding some of the tissues, the fascial networks in the lumbar spine. It can be like cheesecloth, right? Dry, tight. Some injury perhaps, overuse, underuse. Beautiful, you guys. Straighten your legs long on the mat. Reach up overhead. Set your elbows down, widen your heels so that from above you look like letter X. This is starfish pose. A pose where we actually do absolutely nothing. Restore, renew. Relax the shoulder blades. You feel your shoulder blades melt. Tailbone gets very heavy. Brain starts to feel a little soggy. We don't need so much thought. The jaw softens. We're taking our nervous system and intentionally moving it back into a state of rest and release instead of fight and freeze, flight. Keeps us very activated. Just notice how everything begins to soften and relax. And maybe you're feeling more relaxed today here on your mat than you have in a very long time. So much going and doing, planning. Now straighten your legs out on your mat. Pull your left knee into your chest, nice and slow. Clasp your hands to the webbing. And your hands will rest about 3-4 inches beneath the kneecap. And you'll pull that left knee in and then avoid the rib cage. And tuck your chin here so that you're elongating the back of the neck. And just settle into your stillness. Nowhere to go. And once your tissues begin to soften, you can decide if you want to go deeper, right? Should you back off a little bit? Should you go deeper? These ligaments, the holding bone to bone, will tell you, your inner guidance system, intuition will tell you if you've gone too far. Breathe slow and smooth. And very slowly release your left knee. Let the left leg go long on the mat and relax that leg out. Yeah, shake your legs out. You can drum your legs on the earth a little bit. Swish your feet side to side. And very slowly pull right knee in. Clasp your hands all the way to the webbing. And you'll pull that right knee in, and you'll find that sweet spot that's just right. Be compassionate here. Tuck your chin, elongate the back of the neck. And find you're just right. Relax your left leg. There's this state of ease and grace that begins to envelop you. Almost like someone drops a satin sheet from above and it cascades down. And sorts of floats around your muscles, relax. The pose just softens. You almost forget you're in a pose. And we'll be here for just a little longer. Remember, time is the magic. Stillness. Beautiful. And let the right leg go long on the mat. Nice and slow. Yeah. And come into that starfish pose again. If it suits you to place your palms over the navel stem, do so. The solar plexus, when aligned, when balanced, when not so activated and out of balance, spinning out of control, you're feeling stable and calm, at ease, confident. Secure like a strong oak, rooted. You can blow around with this storm or that news story, but you still stay very grounded in who you are and who you're not. Nothing to prove. Not feeling quite so activated. Rather calm. Beautiful. Reach up overhead again. Like that good morning stretch. If you can set the backs of your hands down, just relax the shoulders. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Relax. Just relax the back body, ripening into the earth. Bend both knees. Cross your left ankle over right knee. You'll create a little triangle between the thighs. You can clasp your hands up behind the right thigh or even over the right knee, or you can choose to just lie back. Pulling right knee in, how far you pull in, totally up to you. I can guide you. I cannot manage your intensity. There's a lot further you can go if you want to straighten the right leg. You can pull and pull and pull. Everyone has such different ranges of motion and flexibility and mobility. I like to start this pose with a little rock of the low back, and then I'll settle into my stillness. And we will be here in this figure 4 pose for 3 minutes. It's a great pose for the sciatic nerve, for the outer IT band, and for the low back. Lose your mind. Maybe rock your head side to side. Let your brains just drain out. If there was a little trapdoor in the back of your head, let the brains water the earth. And let this sense of gratitude begin to wash over you. You've rolled out the mat, you've carved out this sacred date. Let's make this time really count for your optimal health. So many don't think about their nervous system. Those that practice Yin are very in tune with their nerves, with the need to stay calm and renewed. The
Yin practice is very sweet, offers back to ourselves our tender-hearted, patient, less reactive selves, and we notice, and we roll out the mat sometimes just to refill the well. We could run dry on patience or tolerance. So I want you to take your right sole of the foot, let that foot come down, and uncross your left ankle. And pull knees into the chest now. Reach up over the shins. And if, accent on the word if, taking your head and neck up feels good, you'll feel a tremendous pull in the arms, upper back, and yet you'll let your low back really melt into the earth here. Tuck your chin. Set your head and neck back down on the mat if you even took them up. And now just rock your knees. Nice little egg. You're like a little ball, cannonball. And just rocking your low back on the mat. Easy does it. Quality, not quantity. And both feet come down onto the mat. And cross your right ankle over that left knee. And you can decide, maybe today you just want to relax, right? If you want to go further, you can clasp your hands up behind the left thigh, maybe up over that left knee. You can slide that right heel down all the way to your navel, maybe, maybe not. Maybe you'll straighten that left knee. Maybe not. Lots of options here. You never want to push into a pose. You're likely not looking at the screen, looking at me. That's not fair. I've been practicing yoga since 5th grade. Meet yourself where you are. Inward satisfaction. Healing your tissues from the inside out. And when the mind begins to chatter, and it will, we learn to guide the mind right back to the breath. And we fall back in love with the nuances of the breath, the slow, smooth, delicious, full inhalation. The pause up there at the top of the breath. The soothing, so slow exhalation. It's like sand shifting at the bottom of the ocean. It shifts and then settles into stillness. We're going to uncross that right leg. This time, take your time. You might feel really fragile, right? Don't worry. That's part of the deal. Soles of the feet down on the earth. Widen your arms out to the side and just let your knees fall side to side. Nice and slow. Knees fall right. Knees fall left. Loosen up that low back. We're going to set up for a deer twist, which is sort of a spin on reclined twist. Don't worry, I'll guide you through it. I want to make sure you have a bolster or blanket nearby. And go ahead and sit out. Notice I haven't sat up yet. I will.
So I have my blanket folded. It's a big, thick velour blanket, so it acts a lot like a bolster. And so you guys are definitely going to watch this unless you're familiar with this from being in the studio. So I want this to be behind you. So if you're sitting, if this is your yoga mat, have your blanket behind you. Okay, you guys? And then I want you to have your knees, if you're facing out, right, have your knees just bend off to the left. I hope this makes sense. I think it does. And this bolster then is on your left side, right? I want you guys to spin around to your left and place both of your hands on either side of that bolster. Here's where I shift my hip just a little, right here, boom. I'm gonna try to twist my torso so I'm putting my chest down on the bolster. My arms are on either side of the bolster, and quite likely I'm gonna rest on my left ear, left cheek. Just like that. One or two of you might rest on right ear, right cheek. It takes a lot more flexibility in the neck to look off to the left. And then after about a minute, I'll guide you to lose the bolster completely if you want. And you can get really comfortable here. Just really allowing your entire body to ripen. And just continue envisioning this breath moving through the body. Just flowing effortlessly. Exhale with me. Exhale, empty your lungs. Empty, 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 empty. And now inhale, and inhale, and inhale. And pause. And exhale. Exhale. So this is an option, it is not an instruction. If you want to slide the bolster out from under you, you'll be in the exact same pose. You're just allowing your belly and your chest to be on the earth instead of the bolster. It's a little deeper. Spinal twist, I want you to be really careful. Trust in your intuition.
And don't rush anything. Just soften, allow. The Yin Yoga practice takes patience and builds patience. It's a very meditative yoga practice. So listen very carefully. I want you guys to take your hands and push them into the mat and come on up. Just the torso moves. Just the torso moves. I'm going to grab my bolster again because a lot of you didn't move your bolster. Leave it where it is. So you're coming up. You're going to keep your knees off to the left. Remember, this is the front of your mat. The bolster's behind you. You're going to keep your knees off to the left. And now you're going to, instead of being on your belly, you guys are going to come onto your back and have the bolster or the blanket supporting you. We do this in the studio often. It's a 4-way recline twist. So knees are off to the left. Chest expanded. Let your elbows get heavy into the earth. Back of the head is definitely supported. Throat open. Heart, there you go. Heart expansive. This is where forgiveness resides. Compassion for yourself, for others. Letting all the love in, not blocking it, just letting this love in and loving freely. Just love. And thoughts will come, and that's okay. Fall back in love with that breath, that beautiful, soothing, vital, trusting breath of yours. Let the breath soothe you and calm your nerves. Ease any tension in the body, in the mind. And very slowly, we're going to come up. Very slowly. Now is when we're going to take both knees and we're going to shift them over to the right now. Bolster stays behind you. You're going to turn around to the right and you're going to place both hands on either side of the bolster. From here, I usually shift my hips a bit here. I'm going to try to spin my belly and chest down onto the bolster. So you'll come on down, you'll rest on your forearms, and then you'll spread your elbows so that the bolster has the weight, and you'll be resting on your right ear, right cheek, looking off to the left. You'll spread your elbows here so that the bolster takes your weight.
leave the bolster right where it is, or if you'd like to go a little deeper in this twist, you can set the bolster aside and return just to the yoga mat. Resting on whatever ear feels good. If you're resting on left ear, just make sure you've got that pliability in the neck. This is very deep. You can always stay on the bolster. If that's what your intuition says, then it's best to listen. You're going to push into the mat with your hands. Raise your torso, nice and slow. Perhaps you've left your bolster there or not. This part's up to you. You're going to spin back around to face the front of your mat again, and your knees are going to stay off to the right as they were. If you're using the bolster, pull the bolster back in so it hits that lumbar spine, and then exhale, lay back. If you're not using the bolster, no problem. It's your choice. Relax your arms out to the side. Make sure the back of the head is supported well. And just savor this time. I'm going to come up to the screen for a moment and just take a peek at who's here and how y'all are doing. Beautiful, nice, you guys. Exhale all your air out. Exhale with me. Exhale, empty, empty, empty those lungs. I know. And now drink the breath in and in and in. Not too full, just right. Beautiful. Exhale, exhale. Let the breath really nourish and calm the body. You feel like you could stay in this pose all day. This pose is so beneficial for the spine, freeing up the spine. Pelvis softens here. And it's really good for the mind, just to turn off the noise, the pace, my goodness. Beautiful, you guys. Find your way onto your back. And we're going to come into Shavasana. However, I see some of you in your office. I see some of you in your bedrooms. If you guys can slide a great big chair nearby and get your legs up the chair, great. Maybe you're close to a wall. I can't put my legs up the wall because there's a big shelf here. Otherwise I would. Let your legs come up the wall or the bed or the chair. You put a blanket behind the head, not something this thick, but just a little blanket. An eye pillow or wash rag over the eyes. Oh my goodness. You deserve this time and you earned it. I'm going to turn the lights out here. Don't worry, I'm not leaving, but I'll wake you up at about 8 minutes time. very slowly and very compassionately from your back. I want you to roll off onto your left side. Left side, yin side, and curl up in a sweet fetal position. Very tender, very vulnerable. Consider vulnerability as like a smile. When you give it away, you might get it back. It's a lovely trait. So many of us don't want to show it. And very slowly, keeping your eyes closed, rise to a comfortable seat that suits you. And take your time. We will wait for you. Sit up tall and feel that Sushumna, that main energy channel, the spinal column from the root all the way to the crown. And just tune in, tap in, considering how you felt at 12 and how you feel now at 1:15. Maybe a smile will creep up on your lips. I hope it does. Gather your palms together in front of the heart. Anjali Mudra. This is a symbol of reverence and devotion. And bow your head to your sadhana, your practice. Thank you, one and all, for joining me today. Namaste. Thank you, Howie. Thank you, Roy. Let's see if I can click off